I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again. As you can see, we've started painting and prepping the backside of the house, nothing like a crew of 10. But today we're spending most of our time inside. Kitchen cabinets have arrived, so we're going to be installing some of them, also touring the factory in Pennsylvania where they're made. And back here, we're also restoring some of the windows in the house. We'll show you how to install some spring-loaded balances. Stick around. It's good to have you home again.
Bob Vila's home again.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the color schemes that have existed on the house in the past, and we know that this red has been here, although the original color was a dark green, neither of which we were sure about, so we took the liberty of doing a big sample here in the corner of the house, and this is kind of a Venetian red that we've mixed, and it's more or less an Essex green trim. I like it, but the main thing I want to do was to make sure my wife liked it. She does. Let's go around front and we'll look at the pressure washing. Now, the pressure washing of the house is really an important step because it's removing all the dust and all the loose, flaky paint that's been there for many years. What we'll be doing once it's all washed is putting on a complete coat of oil-based primer with some tint in it, and then after that, we'll put on the latex finish coat. What he's got up there is a pressure washer, a professional one, and there's two different kinds of nozzles you can use. The one with a circular opening will give you distance. This one here, which is more of a little line opening, will give you a fan. But the main thing to keep in mind is not to get too close to the surface that you're power washing because you'll just destroy the siding. Let's go inside and take a look at those kitchen cabinets. Todd and Jim are in the kitchen installing the first of our cabinets. And this was actually 3 separate boxes that you've glued together, right, Todd?
That's correct, Bob.
Why not put them up one piece at a time?
It's easier to get a good fit and finish if we assemble it on the floor.
And that's the joint where you just had your finger?
Exactly.
Exactly. So in order to get a really good fit and to make sure that they don't move later when things settle,
that's
you
correct.
put them all together. Now, this is a 100-year-old house, and you've got 2 flankers here on either side of the door to the dining room. How do you make sure that they're level, one with the other?
Well, what we use is a water level because the water seeks its own level independent of any other dimension in the house. So that gets us all on the same level since the house is out of level.
Great. So you don't have to measure from the floor at this point and from the floor at that point. You just use the water level just like the Egyptians did a few thousand years ago, right?
That's right.
Great. And what about at the top? Now, do you have to fit a molding up there?
No, that actually is going to scribe in, so we've just left a 1-inch space for us to scribe it to fit the ceiling.
Boy, that'll be a tough little bit of scribe cutting, won't it?
It sure will.
Okay, good luck. We've got a break for a couple of messages, and when we come back, we'll be in Amish country in Pennsylvania, in New Holland, Pennsylvania, visiting the Heritage Factory where these cabinets are built. Stick around. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania is just less than an hour west of Philadelphia. It's the home of the Pennsylvania Dutch, the Amish, a long tradition of an agrarian economy. You can see the cornfields and the silos behind me. But that is changing. There are factories coming here. We're about to tour a kitchen cabinet factory. But you know, a tradition of craftsmanship that's been here for centuries is still here. Let's get together with Len Casey and tour the place. Tell us, Len, what's the first step involved in crafting a custom kitchen here at Heritage?
Well, the first thing that we do is we like to interpret your order and make sure that we have looked at all your plans and drawings and understand exactly what it is that you want. And then what we do is that we then build the face frames. And those face frames are handmade and then hand glued as you see them being done here.
That's what he's dealing with right now is the stiles and the rails.
Exactly. The stiles and rails are then put together in a traditional mortise and tenon construction.
Absolutely.
And
this is the way it was done 100 years ago, building furniture.
Exactly. It's done exactly the same way. In the particular style that you have, the drawers and doors will fit inside the face frame, so it has to be very precise in how it's managed.
Okay. And then this goes into
this press.
The press here.
And the press makes sure that it's absolutely square.
Yeah. Now tell me something. Once you've created the face frame, then what about the doors and the drawers?
Well, each one of your drawer fronts and doors, which were custom made, will fit exactly into one particular place on your kitchen. So it has to be fitted exactly to this face frame just where it is. So that's done individually.
Yeah, right? You can't swap one into another location.
No, you can't do that.
Got to tell you, Len, this is one of the cleanest, quietest woodworking shops I've ever been in. How big is the space here?
Well, thank you, Bob. The plant is 165,000 square feet.
And what's happening at this station?
This is a very important function. Ed here has to precisely locate exactly where the hardware is going to go. So he does it using a laser-guided router system.
So that the drawer fronts come here, and they already have a mark where the hole goes,
There's a
right?
mark put on by the fitter. We locate the mark with the laser, and then the routers come up from underneath and do the drilling.
What is the other hole for, the larger hole?
The other one is to put in this cam. And the cam is designed to allow the leveling of the drawer front, so you always have an absolutely perfect line for your drawer fronts.
I get it. How do you get this perfect, smooth finish on the wood at this point?
Well, all of our wood has to have its final sanding done by hand. If you did it any other way, your eye would notice it wasn't a top quality cabinet.
Okay.
So we do all of it by hand sanding.
And what I see is that you've got these bright lights trained on the wood. What does that do?
Well, we have not only the overhead lights, but we have side lights. The side lights allow you to see any imperfections that happen to be going on with the wood itself.
And you can almost see the sawdust being sucked out. This is throughout the whole plant, right?
We have a great evacuation system. It allows for the atmosphere and for the workers' environment to be very safe and very clean.
Now tell me about the construction of the boxes.
Well, actually, we don't really like to call it a box. We call it a case. And right here is where the face frame, which you've seen earlier, comes together with the sides and the back in order to form the case itself.
Is it just birch plywood?
Oh, no. Right here we use a special type of plywood that has a popular core center for strength and durability.
Poplar wood, okay. And then what happens when you get the cabinet already glued together? Does it all get hand sanded?
Well, every bit of it has to be sanded for a lot of techniques. What we use, which is a very interesting piece of equipment, is called the deep pit stroke sander. This particular sander allows us to take any size and give the same quality of sanding that you would do with hand sanding with this stroke that goes back and forth.
In a way, it's like a giant belt sander.
That's exactly what it is.
Tell me about the drawer construction here at Heritage.
Well, today a lot of people like to think of their kitchen as furniture, and what we do is what's traditionally done in furniture making is we make our drawers with a dovetail construction.
Yeah, look at that. That really is special because you just don't get anything sturdier than a dovetail joint.
And we find if we make them here ourselves, we know they're done absolutely right. And that's what Pat here is doing.
Are the dovetails cut by machine?
The dovetails are cut by machine, and then they're assembled as you see, and then sanded so you cannot feel anything any longer on the side.
Very good. So there is a lot of hand craftsmanship that goes into the kitchens here. Are the bottom panels made out of plywood?
They are made out of plywood, right.
Boy, that just goes together so nicely. You know, I can't wait to take a look at the cabinets you're making for me.
Well, Bob, here's some of your actual cabinets come out already.
Oh boy, these are fantastic. I love the finish. Now this is the kind of a mahogany finish. What do you call this?
This is fireside cherry.
Fireside cherry. It is as rich as can be. And look at the way the drawers come all the way out and still...
These are the full extension slides on this particular cabinet.
Now, is this European hardware or is it
Actually,
American?
this is American.
Great. And then, of course, this is the actual face that's just attached to the dovetailed box.
Exactly.
I think this is part of the pantry wall where we'd have linen storage and the like. And this must be part of the...
This is part of your office here.
The office, the kitchen office desk.
Now, these
area.
have concealed slides, so you don't have to see them, and they have very good, drawer stability.
So the slide is on the bottom of the drawer?
Underneath.
Underneath it, okay. Excellent.
This is Andy Tobias, our marketing services manager.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Andy.
Nice
How
to
are
meet
you?
Very well, thank you.
What do you think of my kitchen?
I think they're gorgeous. I was down here taking a look at them, which is something that we do before we ship. We stage all of our kitchens to make sure that everything is just as it was ordered, that the finish is good, that the wood blends, that there's a uniformity.
Yeah. Of course, you were telling me about the grain and matching the grain, and you don't try to hide any of the grain, right?
Now, our finishes are extremely clear. It's important that they are.
Yeah, look at this. These three pieces go together as our pantry cabinets. They're wall-hung units. And that's really nice to see how all the grain is very, very evident. Now, Andy, you offer a wide range of different finishes, right? Different colors and...
Yes, we have about 84 finishes that are standard colors, but then we do custom color matching to just about anything you can imagine.
And I think we're up to about 400 this year.
This year we've done about 400. Paints, a combination of paints and stains.
And pickling and antique things.
Right,
and like.
we do, and then part of those packages are also some distressing and some of that old world look where you get into a lot of wear marking and multi-step finishes where the finish is peeling back off a little bit.
Tell us a little bit about this particular finish process. I mean, it's not, obviously, it's not brushed on.
Oh, no.
How do you apply it?
This is it's at first sealed, the wood, and then the stain is applied to the exact color that you ordered.
What kind of machinery is used?
Well, this is actually done by hand. All the staining is done by hand. And then the top coat is put on with a clear top coat that allows you to see exactly what the wood is really giving you.
Now, do you have to worry about environmental issues when you're applying all these finishes?
Yes, we do, and we have EPA standards that we work to. OSHA comes in on a regular basis and makes sure that we're up to code, which we are. We work very hard at that. And we're even looking ahead at some of the finishes that we're going to be doing in the future, waterborne materials and things like that.
Excellent.
And our finishes are very sophisticatedly applied in order that we capture anything that comes off. We run the overspray through a water curtain, and we keep the product from ever getting into the environment.
And then it has to be baked, doesn't it?
Oh yes, then we run it through our ovens to get the exact curing of the catalyzed top coats.
They are so beautiful. I just wish I could take them home with me now.
Well, you know, Bob, we pride ourselves on our delivery, and your cabinets will be there next Thursday as scheduled.
And here we are at the loading dock, huh?
And as you'll notice, Bob, they are being furniture wrapped as fine furniture should be wrapped.
So you don't box them.
No, we don't box them. Now also, when they move them, there's a set of sliders underneath that are removed on installation that allows them to be moved with a great amount of ease.
So this whole truck goes to one construction site, the truck driver unpacks it there and does really treat it like furniture.
He loads his own stuff, unpacks it himself.
Len, I've really enjoyed the tour. Thank you
It's a
so
pleasure,
much.
Bob. Thanks for
Andy,
being here.
Great
Thank you.
meeting
It was
you.
nice to meet you.
Okay, and they did arrive as promised on Thursday. And now that we've started installing them, as you know, let me just give you an idea of the lay of the land here, the geography of the kitchen. The overall kitchen space is about 27 by 19, and the architect's layout was to separate it into thirds. This first third, which is right off of the dining room, is a butler's pantry, an homage to the butler's pantry that was here in the past, if you will, and that's why it's designed with the beadboard backing. We'll have glass doors and we'll have counters below. In fact, we'll have a breakfast preparatory area here and the kitchen table right here. And this, of course, leads to the meat and potatoes of the kitchen, the center island, which helps create a galley. And it's a big island. It starts down at this end with an oven, and of course we're going to have a soapstone countertop above this unit, so you'll be able to take something right out of the oven, put it on top here, and you have a buffet situation. Then just next to it we'll have a trash compactor, we'll have the sink, the kitchen sink right in here with these drawers where you can keep all your soaps and things, and of course remember there's never too much space here because of the garbage disposer. And then at the end we'll have the dishwasher. One feature that I really love about the design is the fact that behind the kitchen sink we've got this cabinet which comes up an additional 8 inches, and that provides not only a nice shelf area but also a visual block from the dining room and from the eating part of the kitchen so that you don't see the dirty pots and pans inside here. Opposite the island, exactly 42 inches away, we'll have the cooktop. Behind it we'll have stainless steel splashback and shelves and basically a big hood with the exhaust fan mounted outside. Either side of the cooktop we'll have stainless steel counters and plenty of storage space for spatulas and all sorts of big spoons and things. And I love the way they divide some of the interiors of these drawers so that you've got you know, a very good place to organize your storage. Indeed, that happens here also. Let me see if I can open this one. This cupboard has plenty of room for shelving, adjustable shelving for spices and condiments and everything you need right next to the cooking station. Now, the third last area of the kitchen has the back entry to the kitchen, and of course there's more cabinets to come. Maybe we can understand it better if we go to the plan. We've just left the cooking area. This is the third of the kitchen where you walk in the back door. You've got basically a mudroom kind of space. Storage areas here, a bench to sit on, and over here at this sunny corner you've got the kitchen office, and then of course back here where we're standing against this wall you got a secondary sink for flower arranging or whatever, and a 2-door fridge. So you've really got a very logical kind of order to the whole thing. We've got a break for messages. When we come back we'll be talking window restoration. Don't go away. There are many great features to a late 19th century house. One of my favorites are the original sash with glimmer glass, rolled glass, which in the process of manufacturing creates these vertical lines. And the rollers do that, but what you have is kind of the effect of this glimmer as you move across and look at the view across the street. It's really neat. One of the disadvantages of the old sash are the sash weights, these pig iron things that travel up and down on either side of the window and allow the sash to operate. They also create a huge energy loss because you can't insulate in there unless you remove them. And if you added up all the volume throughout the house, it's almost the equivalent of leaving the front door open all winter long. So we're changing that. Let's hook up now with Greg Rocklin, our architect, and Danny Ruffini, who's doing all this improvement. Hi, fellas. Greg, how you doing?
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Now, one of the key things that you had to do here was the actual size of the window, right?
Well, we're probably the fourth or fifth group to work on these windows because they're 100 years old. And in all that time with wear and refitting and changing sash cords, the windows were a 1/4 inch smaller than the jambs at this point.
So they really wobbled around.
They were wobbling around. We couldn't make them tight.
And now you've got them nice and tight. What did you have to do?
Well, we relined all the jambs with cedar.
Yeah? How thick is that cedar?
That's 1/8 of an inch.
Okay.
And then we put in new parting beads, new stops, all. So you've basically got like a new jamb.
And of course, these windows have interlocking weather stripping, which you can see right along
right.
here. So that is being preserved as well, right?
Yes, and we're just readjusting it.
But the key thing is the spring-loaded balances that you're installing. Why don't we figure out exactly how these go in?
Well, this is the spring-loaded balance, and it's a spiral, and you can apply tension to it to balance the weight of the window. And this bracket here has to be routed into the bottom of the sash, and that's what Danny is doing now.
Okay. You got your eye protection on. And it's just a short 3 inches that you have to route out.
That's right.
Okay. Can we take the jig off? And this you've just really made up for this job. Okay. Now, it looks fairly simple, but is it that simple to...
Well, it really isn't. You have to work out a process. Every window and every house is a little bit different. And Danny and I have done a sort of a test window where we understood all the problems, got the bugs worked out, and then Danny has built a set of jigs and templates and pre-cut all the wood. So now we've got 25 sets of windows to do, and we can go through in a very efficient way and do them.
Okay, now do we take it to the opening? A little bit of tricky maneuvering here. But Greg, do you think this is the kind of job an average do-it-yourselfer can tackle?
No, I don't think so. You need a professional who's had a lot of experience doing this kind of window. Because there's a lot of operations, and if you make a mistake, you've ruined your window.
All right, now this is the easy part, right, Greg?
Right, we just have to get this tube up here so Danny can screw it to the top of the jamb.
But once they're both fastened up to the top, then all the adjustments have to be
Yes,
made.
that's sort of tricky because you've got to crank up this spiral balance so the spring tension equals the weight of the window, and that takes some experience.
Sounds like a good time for us to break for some messages. Stick around, though. And this, of course, is the last critical step to get the right amount of tension. But we're running out of time. Come home again next week when we'll be installing a lavatory in the downstairs powder room and taking you to Kohler, Wisconsin to see how they're made. Also, we expect to have our master bedroom closets fitted out. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again.